Okay, number 6, a continuous random variable x has probability distribution function given there, where x takes the values between 1 and 3 and a is a constant. So, but A, use your graphing calculator to find the value of A. So, the first thing that you're going to do here is, we know that the area under the curve of this PDF, or probability density function, will be equal to 1. I'll factor out A because it's a constant, over x squared minus 4x will be equal to 1. Oops, sorry. I meant to write 3, 1, a 1 over x squared minus 4x dx is equals to 1. And then what I'm going to do is to find the value of this integral using my calculator. So what I'll do is alpha window, I want to find the value of that integral 1, the lower limit 1 to 3. Plug in the integral, which is 1 over x squared minus 4x dx, which gives me that. So what this means is that a multiplied by negative 0.5493 is equal to 1, which means that a will be equal to 1 over negative 0.5493, which will give me, actually I can write below here, a will be equal to negative 1.82. All right, so a is that, and but B, they're asking us to calculate expected value and variance. So I'm just going to work it out here. So, but B, because this is a calculator question, this will be easy. Just plug the integral in your calculator. So 1, 3, negative 1.82x over, remember I have to multiply by x because that's the formula for calculating the expected value. Check your formula booklet. Now, if you plug this in your calculator, you'll get 2 as your answer. And then variance, that will just be equal to the integral between the same limits, but now you multiply by x squared, so 1.82 x squared over x squared minus 4x dx minus 4, which is 2 squared. So I end up with 0.358. Just plug that in your calculator again, that integral, the way we did in part A, and then you should be able to get your answer. Number 7. So this is a non-calculator question. A continuous random variable x has PDF given by that, where x is between 0 and pi over 4. Sketch the graph of f. So first step is I'm going to find the period of this function. So period is equal to 2 pi over b which is 2 pi over 2. So the period of this function is pi, which means if I divide that by 4, then the graph of that function basically will be something like this. It's gonna be, if you divide pi by 4, that means the function will be cutting the x-axis, actually something like that. We'll be cutting the x-axis at pi over 4. Because if the period is pi, divide by 4, you're gonna end up with this. Remember, it's a cosine function. All right, so let's start with the first calculation that they expected to do. So part A is done. Part B, median. So to find the median, actually I can work this out below here. So part B, to get the median, we use this formula m0 and then 2 cos x, 2 cos 2x dx. Just integrate the function, and that should be equal to a half. Now, if we integrate that, we'll end up with 2 sine 2x over 2 with the limits m0, and that will be equal to a half, which will give us sine 2m is equal to a half. Well, if you use the special triangle, sure you can remember this. 1, 2 from trigonometry. This is 60, that is 30, which is pi over 6. So basically, we can see that sine 30 is a half. So 2m is pi over 6, which is 30 degrees. And therefore means that m is pi over 12. Good. So that's the median done. The mean, okay, did I write the median? So median is that. Okay, the mean, that is basically the expected value, which will be equal to the integral pi over 4, 0. Multiply that function by x, so 2x cos 2x dx. Now, what I'm saying here is this, we can only integrate this by parts. So which means using eyelet, if you remember, eyelet, right? We'll use we'll use that to choose u. But before we do that, let's just write the formula in our formula booklet. U dv over dx is equals to uv minus integral of v du over dx. Good. So let's start. What is our u? Let u to be equal to 2x. Du over dx will be equal to 2. dv over dx equal to cos 2x. V will be equal to sine 2x over 2. So we can go further and plug everything in the formula. So we'll end up with integral pi over 4 0 2x cos x dx will be equal to, plug that in, so that will be 2x multiplied by sine 2x over 2 pi over 4 0 minus integral pi over 4 0 2 multiplied by sine 2x over 2 dx. Carry on. We'll end up with x sine 2x pi over 4 0 minus integral pi over 4 0 sine 2x dx, which gives us let me just finish the part. I'll leave this the way it is first for now. And then this side, if I integrate it, I'm going to end up with negative cos 2x over 2 pi over 4 0. Simplify this, x sine 2x plus cos 2x over 2 pi over 4 0. So plug in pi over 4. So pi over 4 sine pi over 2 plus, I'll factor out a half so that I end up with cos pi over 2 minus cos 0. This will give me sine pi over 2 is 1, so just pi over 4 plus a half into so that will be 0 minus 1. So my answer will be pi over 4 minus a half. Okay, this will be the expected value. About the mod, let's try and inspect from the graph. Maximum value is at 0. Remember, this is 0. So we'll just say mod is equals to 0. Remember, this is the value of x at maximum. And that's it. All right. Next question. A continuous random variable x has PDF defined by that. Use your GDC to find the value of a, hence expected value. So this is a calculator question. This is a GDC question. So part A, to find the value of a, we know that the area under the curve will be equal to 1. So just go ahead and start integrating. Factor out a, it's a constant. Okay, I'll work out the value of the integral on the calculator. So if you go onto your calculator, work out that integral, let's see what it is. Okay, so we have 0.08333. So what I'll do is A multiplied by 0.08333 is equals to 1. So A will be equal to 1 over 0.08333, which gives me 12. So A is 12. Um, Now that I have A, I can work out B, which will be the expected value. Straightforward. Just plug this in your calculator. 1, 0. Formula for expected value means you have to multiply x by that integrand. So 12x squared, because A is 12. 1 minus x squared dx. If you plug that in your calculator, get 0.4. Variance of x will be 12x cubed into 1 minus x squared dx minus 0.4 squared, which will be 0.04. Again, just plug that in your calculator the way it is. All right. Number 9. So in number 9, consider the function defined by k from 0 to 2 and 2k from 2 to 3 and 0 otherwise. Determine the value of k given that f is a PDF of random variable x. Remember, the area under the curve has to be equal to 1. B, sketch the graph of f. I'll use it to find the median. C, find the values of expected and value and variance of x. So assuming this is a non-calculator paper, let's try and work it out. So A, the area under the curve will be equal to 1. So k dx plus 3 to 2k dx is equal to 1. That will give me kx, this limits to 0, plus 2kx 3 2 is equals to 1. So basically 2k plus 6k minus 4k is equals to 1. So 2k plus 2k is equals to 1. 4k is equals to 1. K is equals to a quarter. Good. Part B, I can work out here B. So part B, sketch the graph. Let's try sketching it. So a quarter, so you have a quarter here. We have a half. We have 3/4. And you're saying that between 0 and 2, we have just k. So assuming these are not inclusive. And then 2k, which is basically a half, because k is a quarter. So between here and here, both inclusive, we have that. All right, so we have that. So basically what we need to do is find the median. So to find the median, we know that we have to integrate. So for median, the area under the curve has to be equal to a half. So M0, this is basically what I mean, f of x dx has to be equal to a half. So by inspecting, we are basically trying to say that this area here, has to be a half. So looks like from what we can see here, the median is 2. This 2 is inclusive in this distribution function. So median is equals to 2. I'm going to move on to C, the variance of x. So variance of x, given that the value of k is a quarter, actually not the variance, the expected value of x, that will be equal to integral 0 a quarter x dx plus 3 to a half x dx. So that is x squared over 8 20 plus x squared over 4. If you integrate that, 32, which will give me 4 over 8 plus into bracket 9 over 4 minus 4 over 4, which is basically a half, plus 5 over 4, which is 7 over 4. Variance of x will be equal to the integral 20 a quarter x squared dx plus, remember I'm just using the formula for variance in the formula booklet, a half x squared dx minus 7 over 4 squared, which will be equal to x cubed over 12 20 plus x to the power 3 over 6 32 minus 49 over 16, which will be equal to 8 over 12 plus 27 over 6 minus 8 over 6 minus 49 over 16, which will give me 2 over 3 plus 19 over 6 minus 49 over 16, which gives me 37 over 48. Good. I move on to number 10. A continuous random variable x has PDF defined by f of x is equals to ax squared plus b, where x is between 0 and 3, and a and b are constants. Find in terms of a the value of b. So the first thing is we know that area under the PDF is equal to 1. So a 30 ax squared plus b dx is equals to 1, which implies that ax cubed over 3 plus bx 30 is equals to 1. So 9a plus 3b is equals to 1. So b is equal to 1 minus 9a over 3. So that's part A. Part B, they're saying that given that the median is 1, determines the value of A and B. So let's go B. The median is equals to 1. So that means 1, 0, ax squared plus b dx is equals to a half. If we integrate that, we'll end up with ax cubed over 3 plus bx 10 is equals to a half. Plug in, we'll have a over 3 plus b is equals to a half, which means that b is equal to a half minus a over 3. So if we quote these two equations, we have that equation and that equation. So we can say that a half minus a over 3 is equal to 1 minus 9a over 3. So multiply each side by 6. We'll end up with 3 minus 2a is equal to 2 minus 18a. So 16a will be equal to negative 1. So a will be equal to negative 1 over 16. And if a is equals to negative 1 over 16, b will be equal to a half minus using this equation, a half minus a third into bracket negative 1 over 16. So which means b will be equal to a half plus 1 over 48, which will give me 25 over 48. So that's the value of b.